Probably do. So this is great. Oh, so I have a PowerPoint, but it's really just to make sure that I keep moving along in my keynote address, because this would be the first keynote I've ever given. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay. So, and I have this huge topic called the state of special education for San Francisco Unified School District. So how is it that I'm qualified to talk about something like that? It's kind of huge. San Francisco Unified School District provides services to like 7,000 children with disabilities, right? That's big. It's really big. And I've been with San Francisco Unified Special Education Department since 1997. So when I started to prepare for this, I started thinking about the moves that have happened in 20 years, right? I started as a teacher and moved and changed. And one really powerful change that happened is I had a child during all of that. So I was a teacher and I knew everything. And people would say, "Do you have kids?" I'd be like, "No." And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I can see that." Right? Yeah. And then I would hold meetings and IEP meetings, and they'd look at me and they're like, "You have kids, don't you?" I'd say, yeah, I do. And the most powerful experience was last year when I sat on the other side of the IEP table for my child's initial IEP meeting, because he has a learning disability and he struggles with reading. So, with that, I'm going to talk about special education here in San Francisco, but I want you to know that I've actually have a very, very different experience, and that's what keeps me in this work. Really big celebrations. I've got 3 really big things that have happened in 20 years. One of them is San Francisco Unified's kids are outperforming California on the statewide measurements. And I can share this. This is California State's performance. The blue bar is the English language arts, and the purple is math. That's a percentage of meeting or exceeding proficiency rates. Not so hot. But there's San Francisco's. So that's great. It's fantastic. Yes, that's a good thing. Okay. Is this better? Oh, yay. Okay. Wow. Echoey. The other celebration that I wanted to make is San Francisco's commitment to addressing the teacher shortage. It's happening nationally. People are not going into teaching. This tech industry pays really well. People are not going into teaching. So San Francisco said, wow, what are we going to do to grow our own special educators? We have a para-educator to teacher training program that is thriving, and this year is the first year for a teacher pathway program. San Francisco is approved to do its own accreditation program. So we're hiring teachers, we're training them, and they are thriving. We're going into our 2nd year in that program. It's outstanding. Other districts are not experiencing success like we are in teaching force. What's this last one? Yes. So I'm going way back 20 years ago when I started in San Francisco Unified. There were schools that were called inclusion schools, and there were schools that were not inclusion schools. And your children were placed into an inclusion program 20 years ago to have access to typically developing peers. That is not happening anymore. Every school is poised to provide services in the general education to all children. That is a massive shift. Huge. And we've got to continue to make those things successful. But when you go back 20 years to now, this is a major, major shift and change where children are getting access to core instruction more so than ever before. So that's something to applaud. Yes. Now, the other really, really big piece to applaud, as Dr. Matthews pointed out, is that we're focusing on teaching each and every child. Special education is a part of that movement, and we're supporting good instruction all the way around. When general education instruction becomes stronger and better, special education supports become stronger and better. And with that, I want to introduce our Chief of Special Education, Jean Robertson, who is bringing that school-based experience to our department so that all children will succeed. All right, I'm going to go like this.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, just give us a minute here. And a button, oh my goodness. It's multitasking. All right, well, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here this morning. I am a special educator and have been my entire career, I'm happy to say. I wanted to share, I have a few slides as well. I want to share a little bit about who I am and why I'm here. When Joe called me on the phone, he told me I had 45 minutes to roll out my vision for the San Francisco Unified School District. I said, Joe, I've been on the job for exactly 4 weeks, give me a break. And then I noticed that Kristen's darling photo was in the pamphlet for this event, and I thought, I can't take her glory away. Let's do it together. So thank you for doing the State of the Union, and I could completely connect with so many of your slides, and so I'm going to try to weave in a little bit of my journey in this district with the journey of special education as well. So this is me in the back, Jean. I'm one of 4. I'm in the middle. Joan, John, Jean, and Jim. Don't ask me what they were thinking. We were 14 months apart, every one of us. We grew up as a unit. We were treated as a unit. There wasn't a lot of individual sort of things going on here at that time, but Lordy, we did grow together, but individually as well. There was another photo on here, but it's gone. It was one of my, my dad and my brother and I on my first communion day, and I have my arm on my dad's shoulder, and I have this face on that looks like I could conquer the world. And I wanted to share that with you because when you grow up in a unit like this, you have to sort of find your way. And I did find my way in this little group, and my siblings definitely kept me in check. But once I launched, and I came out here to San Francisco back in 1988. I learned early on that I wanted to be a special educator. It started in high school. I was invited to be a swim instructor in the adaptive phys ed program for the city that I grew up in. And I got to teach swim lessons to all the kids that came in from around the city. And I just knew. I said, I got to go to college. I was not the best student. I was a unique learner. I talked constantly. I moved about the room. It took me forever to get started. I imagine if I were in school today, I would have a diagnosis. But when you're one of 4 and your mom goes back to work to rest every day, as she used to say, there wasn't a lot of advocacy. But I muddled through. I found my way. I did go to college. I went on the 5-year plan, and I got that special ed credential, and I came out to San Francisco with great big eyes and ready to work. But San Francisco Unified School District did not have a teacher shortage at that time, and I was not being hired, and I couldn't believe it. I had to go to a private school in the city and start there, and I did, and I don't regret that, actually. It was called Discovery Center School. It was out on Alamany and Ocean, and it had a good crew of families that were patient and kind to the new kid. And they had good curriculum and structures, and I was able to practice teaching and get my feet wet in a safe place. Then I decided to get married. That's a long story. We'll get over, yeah. So I got married, and I got pregnant soon after, and I thought, now what am I gonna do? I didn't feel as though I was equipped or ready for that. I was probably, I think I was 28. So I had the kid, and I ended up at James Lick Middle School as a resource specialist back in 1994. And those were the days. They were just coming out of a consent decree at that time. They had reconstituted the entire school. There were all new teachers. There was a dynamic principal in Joan Hepperly. Brad Stam, our new deputy superintendent, was a teacher there, and I am so grateful that I landed in that school at that time. I mean, it was a nut house, but the structures and the learning that the professionals were doing just catapulted me. My mind was like blown away about who I am and what I brought to the table every day. It was a terrific experience at James Lick. Where are we going from there? Oh, that was my first year teaching. I meant to show you that. That's me over on the right at the private school. So this is the family. I had another kid towards the end of the James Lick experience, and I always laughed that I incubated her while I worked at James Lick as the resource specialist. She had a certain energy the entire time I was carrying her. And when I delivered her, she just came out like, ugh. She was something else. And so that's her on the right, that's Hope. And this is Tess. These are my two daughters. And I ran into Jackie Fox today, and she just said that she's amazed at how poised and lovely the girls grew up because she remembers Hope when she was a rugrat and what she put us all through. She too ended up with an IEP, unbeknownst to me, because I went to work to rest every day. But her teacher approached me and said, hey, she's got something going on. And I was like, you think? You know, is it treatable? She's like, yes, of course it's treatable. So we went down that path with Hope, and it was amazing. It was humbling. I cried. I went through a lot of emotions as a parent with a child with unique and special needs. It did put me on the other side of the table, much like many of you who are here today and my colleague Kristen. The perspective, the new perspective was really something. I always thought that I did such a great job with my special ed families, but this information just paid it that much more forward. I don't know what else to say about that. Oh, one thing, Hope just started in college this year, and she said to me, she had landed, and she said, Mom, can you please send a PDF of my IEP and my psychoeducational evaluation? And I was like, yeah, why, why? And she said, I want to go to the Office of Student Services and make sure that all of my accommodations are going to be met if I need them. And I just thought, self-advocacy for the win. Way to go, Hope. Tess, actually, the one on the left, she's my easy one up until the time she turned 24. Then she became a little bit of a pill. But she's a teacher today. She's a first-year teacher in San Francisco Unified School District. Yeah. And the funny thing is that she's teaching at Grattan. And I called it Grattan, by the way. I don't know when it became Groton. We used to debate it because it was an East Coast thing, but yeah, she's at Grattan, and she's doing fantastic. So the kids are equipped, but they're not equipped because we were great parents, although we did okay, John and I. She's equipped because they're both products of the public school system here in San Francisco. And that's something that I hold very dear to my heart. And I used to tell Carranza all the time, do not pull your kids out of public education. I like public education. It's a very important concept to me. The idea of a child coming to my schools through my doors with special needs was just so invigorating and challenging. I've never said, we don't have that at this school. I'm proud to say that I don't know what that is, but we're gonna figure it out because darn it, this is public education and that's our charge. And I know that there are principals out there with that mindset, but there's probably not enough. I'm not going to lie, I have been scared. That was me, my first year principaling. I honestly didn't know what I was doing. I said to my boss, I don't know the first thing about being a principal. And they laughed, they said, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I thought, okay, well, here we go. But every kid that came through those doors was welcome, and we had what I like to think were authentic discussions and IEPs to set every single kid up for success. So in this job, they nudged me to do it. I thought, I don't want to do this. This is so hard. Am I up for this challenge? And it only took about a week or two in, and I thought, oh yeah, this is the right place for me right now. We're going to do this. And so we have a lot of principals to encourage and support. so that they're not so frightened when you walk through the door with your kid and they're learning unique learning styles and needs. We want to set them up to be really open and embracing of whatever comes to them as public educators. So the other thing is teachers. I have done everything short of just sheer bribery to keep the best special educators on my site. This is so sick, I won an award 2 years ago, and this girl interviewed, and I knew that she was the best of the best and that she could pick any open special ed job in this district because everybody wanted her. And I even said, I'm an award winner. You will want to work for me. I mean, I pulled that card. That is so sick. But that's what it takes. I mean, you want to recruit and retain the very best teachers. And when you get them, you want to nurture them. You want to give them every tool that you can think of, anything that they ask for, to just widen their repertoire of tools and knowledge to serve your kids. And so that is a huge commitment on my part as well. And that is Scott, and he's now out in Vallejo. And I was at the SELPA conference this week, and I sat with the Vallejo SELPA director, and I was working on this, and she said, oh my God, I have Scott now. Anyway, Scott's a good guy, and those are his kids. Speaking of kids, so I want to just tell you just a quick little story, again, about my commitment to this work and what we need to do at the site level. This little guy came into my office one day. I had kids in and out of the office all day, and it was a pleasure to serve, believe me. He came in and he had a little break pass, and he said, I need to take a time out. And it was more of a disciplinary timeout. I didn't get all the details. I like to call it a rest. I always say, oh, you need a little rest? You're gonna take a little break from the class? Okay. So that was the chair, that was the resting chair in the office, and he chose to sit upside down with a chew stick. He wore a chew stick. And he sat there for 6 minutes. We set the timer for 6 minutes. And when he was done, I said, how are you feeling? Are you ready? Yes. You going back? Yep, going back. And up he went. But just looking at this, I want you to just think, can you see this happening in many, many schools? A child being allowed to sit upside down on their timeout with the chew stick? Probably not, right? If I hear one more time that a child must sit crisscross applesauce, I think I'm going to pull my hair out of my head. Right? Yeah, you know where that's coming from. This goes back to what Dr. Matthews was saying, and Kristen. I mean, this whole notion of individualized approach to children learning is really the real deal for me, and that is why I'm here today. I'm here for kids like this one. If any of you have gotten, oh, I've done something. Oh, I don't know, maybe that's my last slide. If any of you, oh God, now I've lost my train of thought. I wanted to just kind of close it up. Oh, if you've gotten an email from me, at the very bottom tagline of my email, it says, wholly committed, and the relentless pursuit in the life of a child. I mean, and I'm truly on this earth for that reason, and I hope to bring all of that and build a team and inspire a shared vision on my team to really authenticate IEP conversations and make them real. I can see some of you getting warm in the back, so I'm going to close this out. I wanted to give a big shout out to a couple of workshops that are happening today. I was thinking if I were a parent, where would I have gone? And I definitely would have checked out Transforming Tears and Tantrums. Don't know if any of you are dealing with that stage of the game, but you might want to consider that this morning. It's A14. If I were the superintendent of schools, get ready, Matthews, I would ban homework for life. Just from a parent perspective, it's been such an incredibly, remember Hope, what she put her parents through in homework. So helping with homework. If you have that kid, you're definitely going to want to check that out in the afternoon. A big important workshop for me is the alternative dispute resolution one, where you look for peaceable sort of resolutions with your IEP team you work in harmony and try to work out some of those bumps. There's some outside resources to help you do that. I know Ricky Joe's putting that one on. In Laura's in the afternoon, just about the collaboration between the district and families and how we can better work together. We are a team, we're Team SFUSD. Thank you very much. CAC is completely on the team. I'm really so looking forward to just continuing our work going forward. And with Katie Russell, of course. I want to thank Joe for having me here today. And thank you very much. I think I'm the one that gets to launch you out into the workshops. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to working with all of you moving forward. Oh, there's one more? Oh, sorry, don't leave yet.
I just wanted to acknowledge all the SPED staff.
Oh, all of them, our staff. Laura just said give a shout out to the SPED staff. So let's definitely do that, because I'm not nurturing teachers anymore. I'm nurturing my team. So if you're on the special ed team, stand up and show your face. Go ahead. Stand up, give a wave. We are your people. This is our team. I'm still getting to know some of them. All right, Chad, everybody have a great morning.
And
Juno, if you are support for family staff, thank you so much for being here and putting all of this on. Please give us a wave. Let us know that you're in the house.